So we got our almost 3 times faster cash, which we had a lot of receivables out there. So that kept that plant going, and we used that time to reconfigure our plant. Because we weren't all scrambling trying to let people go, we could use those people to reconfigure the way we did business. We always wanted to, we just were too busy. We knew what the problems were because we were huddling about them. And so during that time, you know, we reconfigured. So you think differently, right? When you know the numbers, you think differently. So if you were to put $1,000 in 1983 into the stock market, today you have about, maybe 13, 14 grand, maybe a little bit more. If you'd have given Warren Buffett, anybody heard of Warren Buffett? Berkshire Hathaway, the guy that owns Nebraska Furniture Mart? Okay? You'd have about maybe 100 grand today. These numbers are a little off, but maybe 100 grand. Not bad. 100, 100 times return. And if you'd have put $1,000 in 1983 in SRC, okay, today you have over $3.6 million. Those numbers are just a little off. Okay, and it's growing every day, and companies that do open book management have much greater returns than any other company out there. And we're one of the most studied, this is one of the most studied phenomenons out there in business today. Why don't more people do it? It's always crazy to me to think about that. This is when we kind of started officially in 75. Capital Connections, this is the business that my mom and Jack put together, which is to teach this stuff, to coach. She wrote a couple of books on open book. You can see there that happened in the 80s. And a great game of business there in 90, 92. This is our joint venture with John Deere. You see Isuzu and Yanmar and Mercury, our automotive plant. So all of these companies, all through the life of the company, have used open book management. So it works. It works. Okay. Let me fast forward a little bit. I want to show you a huddle. Any questions right now? No questions? You sure?
As long as some of them are still using open
You
book
betcha.
management.
You betcha. Yeah, we're not, have we always been successful? Which would be another great question. No. We bought a tank business. We made air tanks for the RV market. We bought that right before the recession. What happened to the RV business during the recession? Thank you for that pun. Very good. It was done. Our tank business in the RV market was done. And we were trying to pull in all those employees because we don't want to lay anybody off. You know, we had to close the business down, but we took all the employees and put them into our other factories. And we had that building, and we wanted to sell the building, but it was the largest loan that small community bank had. And guess what it would have done to the bank? It would have put them out of business. So we held on to that, and we tried to use that until later on. We held on to it for 5 years, actually, because we cared. We didn't want to see the bank go down. And we figured we were making some friends along the way. And we did. We eventually sold that hangar. It was an old airplane hangar, converted into a business. We didn't need it, so we sold it later. And we closed the business down. So it doesn't always mean, you can get into marketplaces where it's just bad, or you have a recession. There's a recession all the time. There's going to be another recession in probably 4 or 5 years. That's what we think. There's always recessions. There always has been. Probably always will be. So what do? You make yourself as strong as you can, and then you work against the conditions. Okay. So when we talk about a huddle is, and I'll have to, hopefully our sound will work here on my machine so you guys can hear it. But a huddle is where we communicate what's going on in the business. We keep everybody informed and engaged. And I want you guys to see here a huddle. This was in the John Deere factory back a number of years ago. So you might see a couple of mullets left over in here. But they're talking about what's going on in the week, and you're going to see people projecting numbers. You're going to see all the managers are standing up, and they're giving everybody that's usually out there standing up in the factory a seat out of respect. But every single person in the company is at this huddle, okay? And the manager right here is running the huddle, okay? So that we'll take a look at this together. First, I want to make sure my sound is up.